Our second scripture comes from the Gospel of Matthew. Hear the word of the Lord. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, you shall not murder. And anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, is answerable to the court. Anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there, in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them. Then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary, who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge. And the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. You have heard it said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. It has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, or for it's God's throne, or by earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. The word of the Lord. Cleaning up the garage a little bit. Just a little bit. It was a little bit. And during Harvey, this is not a Harvey story, but we got in a bunch of plastic containers. And they've been repurposed for a number of things. The containers, not the lids. And I don't know why, but I picked up a lid and I was moving it, and I noticed on it a picture. A warning. Now, these plastic containers are about yay wide, yay deep. So there's a lid for one of those, and there's a picture and a warning that says, do not put children in container.
Do not put me in it.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. I looked at that and I went, okay, first off, you know, in order for them to put that sign there, that label there, somebody had to have done that. And you know, we come across those things. I build plastic models for a hobby, and I use paint thinner. And on the paint thinner it says, do not consume. It never occurred to me, hey, I'm thirsty, let's just drink some paint thinner. By show of hands, who's gone, yeah, I think I'll drink some of this. You sure, Bill? You didn't drink? Okay. Anybody's hung around me for more than 24 hours has probably heard me say something like this. Rules and laws are for stupid people. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Why do we have a law that says don't commit murder? Yes, but shouldn't it be obvious that we don't murder other people? I rest my case. Speed limits. That's a little pet peeve of mine. Speed limits. It says 65. Why do we have speed limits?
Cops go
Let me
faster.
rephrase it. Why do we have them in Houston?
Cops go faster than them all the time.
Yeah, actually they do. You're driving down the road, I think I'm speeding, there goes the cop. I'm like, okay. Because people will drive crazy fast, and it's not safe.
That's my sister.
Now, as my wife said, this book that we put on a high, the Bible, is filled with rules. It is. And there are a number of faith streams throughout Christendom that are convinced that we must obey each and every rule. It's all about the rules. And to a certain extent, there's merit to that. In this morning's reading, it's interesting that it started at verse 21. I think the verse right before that should be included as paramount. For Jesus, imagine him sitting there and he's talking to those around him. Now, Jesus was a teacher, and it was a little different back then, okay? So, normally, when you go to class and the teacher is teaching, how often do you talk back to the teacher? Let me rephrase that question. How often should they talk back to the teacher? Okay.
My mom is currently not dying.
I got one behind me, too. Her look was actually funnier. So normally, whether you're in elementary, middle school, high school, college, even the doctoral program, you sit there and listen. And you nod your head, yes, sir, yes, sir. And you're asking, is this on the test? Do I need to put this in the paper? When Jesus was teaching in his time, he would sit there and it would be a give and take. As a matter of fact, a lot of the talking was done by the students. They would throw things out. And then the rabbi, Jesus in this case, or any rabbi, would go, well, that's a good point, but you really haven't thought that through. Or they might go, I haven't thought about that before. So there's a lot of give and take. So imagine Jesus sitting there and he's talking to them. And he just reeled off a whole bunch of rules, didn't he? Don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't go to court. I mean, just on and on and on. And he uses that language. You've heard it said, but I say. The verse 20 before this lectionary reading says, unless your righteousness is greater than the Pharisees or teachers of the law, you will not go to heaven. Think about that. He's not saying the Pharisees and teachers of the laws are bad. Those were good people. They're following the law. I mean, don't we often like people who follow the law? Can I get an amen on that one? Amen. It's good to follow the law. So he wasn't being critical, but he's saying you've got to be greater. So in the Pharisaic tradition, the teachers of the law, they go, here's the rule, follow it. Okay? And that was good enough, some would think. Jesus takes us to what is the intent of the law? Why was it created? Where are we going with it? It's like, why'd they put that sticker on that tub? Because somebody's done it. Now, the reason I laugh at it, personally, as I won't say a good dad, but my kids are all alive. I get credit for that, right? For the moment. Because I know, and I think most of you would agree, notice I said most, putting a baby in a plastic container with a lid is not safe. Anybody got any questions on that one? So therefore, it would never occur to me to put a child in a plastic container. So it doesn't occur to me I need to follow that rule because the safety of the child precludes that concern. Let's go back to speed limits. Speed limit's 65. And once we learn speed limits, we do this in Houston. I assume they do it everywhere. We know we do it in Houston. The question is, okay, if the sign says 65, can I go 66? How about 67? Can I get to 60? At what point do I get the ticket? That's what we're looking for. Okay? We're concerned about the speed. The speed limit sign is not there about our speed. They don't intentionally try to slow us down on purpose. It's meant there for safety. So just because the speed limit says you can go 65, if the person in front of you is doing 50, guess what? You don't get to go 65. Hitting them is a bad idea. Jesus tells his disciples, love your neighbor as yourself. Do you remember the question? What was the question that came after that?
What is the greatest rule?
Who is my neighbor? That was the question before.
Yeah.
So you're right. That question after was, who's my neighbor? And that's the wrong question. Because when they ask the question, who's my neighbor, that's an exclusive question. Person sitting there looking at Mr. Gaylor here going, who's my neighbor? And he's hoping that Gaylor gets excluded. Well, he's not your neighbor, but she is. That's the wrong question. The question should have been, how do I love him? How do I love them? When we hear these commands, don't murder, don't commit adultery, the men hate that one. I get it. But the real premise behind it is when we think negative things on a regular basis, we're more inclined to commit negative acts. We have to look at why the rules were written down over the ages. What caused them to be created? And here's where one of the problems comes in. We have a large number of spiritual brothers and sisters in the world. And they look at these rules that are written down. And that's all they do is look for a surface interpretation. I mean, you think about that for a second. Think about that. If your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. I don't see a whole lot of one-eyed Christians, but they use that to beat people about the head and shoulders. You're sinning, you're sinning, you're sinning, you're sinning. And what they do is they take that command and instead of adjusting to its intent, they use it to turn away from the pain of the world. I can't look at that. That's a bad thing. I can't look at that. I can't see that. That's a bad thing. I can't look at crime because that's a sin, rather than trying to figure out what causes the crime and how to alleviate it. Why is this person stealing? Because they need to feed their family. They already have a job, but they can't make ends meet. And the list goes on and on. When we read this, and Jesus opens that door, when we read all the rules, man, there are a lot. Go study the book of Leviticus. Study the New Testament. The question becomes, why were these guidelines handed down through the ages? So that people can live in community, lovingly, embrace, holding on to one another, rather than finding ways to divide. It's not about the code, as I used to say in construction, it's about the intent thereof. Once we understand the intent, don't commit murder. Jesus says, you've heard it said, don't do that. I say don't even get angry. Because when we get angry, what do? Dumb things. I saw you, Bill. You shook your head, yes. When we get angry, we don't think clearly. So don't get angry. Embrace and love one another. Don't go to court. I've been in court. I've been in court a lot. And I can't think of too many happy occasions. Some do. You see a abused, neglected child gets adopted, that's awesome. They realize they have found a forever home, that's awesome. But most of the time when I've gone to court, it's not pretty. You don't want to go there. You don't want to spend time there. He says, don't do that. Work on your relationships. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. We are such a contractual community and society. You almost have to sign a contract when you go to the grocery store. Okay, I'll walk in, I'll buy X amount of things, I'll pay you, you'll do this. It's almost contractual, it's brutal on how much give and take there is that must be legalistic. Whereas in a relationship, I gotta pick on somebody. I'm tired of picking on my wife. Okay, Brian, I'll pick on you. He raised his hand. So, if you ask me to do something and I say yes, do I need to write a piece of paper saying I'm going to do it? If I say yes, it's probably going to happen?
Probably.
Okay.
Maybe about 0.5% chance.
What?
Maybe about 50% chance.
50%? 50%? Can I get to at least a 70?
Sure.
What about Robin Hood? He broke the laws?
Robin Hood broke the laws, but what was he doing? The laws were unjust.
Yeah.
He understood the code, the law of love. So, I don't want to get too far off. Rules aren't stupid. They're not for stupid people per se. But you have to understand why they exist. 65 speed limit, it's there for a good reason, not just to slow us down. It's there so we can share the freeways happily and safely when we get to point A to point B. That sticker on that plastic container, you know somebody had to do it at some point. It's there to remind us, be safe with our children. The label on the bleach, don't drink this. You know, it pauses us to think when we pick up a container, what's in this container? I might want to read it before I do anything with it. Okay? Jesus loads that out. You've heard it said, but I say. What's the intent? The intent, as the children's sermon said, is to love everyone unconditionally. Love God with all of our heart, all of our soul, with all of our mind. Love everyone in the same way. When we do that, we don't have to sit there and look at the rules and wonder if we're doing okay. When we love unconditionally, we're doing pretty darn good. Let's pray. Great loving God, we ask that you give us your hearts. Give us your eyes that we may see others as you see them. Help us to not be worried about the rules, but to be worried about taking it a step further. Not how do we be good, but how can we love one another unconditionally. Lord, teach us this and show us the path. All this we pray in your name. Amen. For the next few minutes, think about it for a little bit, if you will. Think about it in your law or rule. And ask yourself, why was it created? Why do we have to have rules that say, don't murder, don't steal? What's behind them? What's behind them?